Everything I've been told about free weights and machines is wrong. And this isn't just another gym debate. These are fat lies that the fitness industry has fed you and I that have left us in a confused mess. Like my pecker when it tells me it's done peeing before I put it back in my pants. That's betrayal or incontinence, one of those. So by the end of this video, you'll be sat in a truly warm feeling. You'll understand which equipment is best for muscle building, injuries, and athletic performance, the pros and cons of each, but most importantly, the truth behind these lies that you, me, and everyone has believed for so long. So let's get into it. Now, people assume that free weights and machines affect muscle growth differently, the same way that excel and incels incorrectly assume something's a date. And that's mainly because they think that free weights activate more stabilizer muscles that lead to better gains. EMG studies, which is just studying how your muscles work by measuring their electrical activity, do show that free weights like barbell squats and bench press recruit more stabilizer muscles than their Smith machine counterpart. But muscle growth doesn't depend on how many stabilizers are activated or just muscle activation in general. We require mechanical tension, which is caused by those sets taking close to failure so your face looks like a shitting turtle, taking a muscle through its full range of motion with an emphasis on the stretch, and getting stronger over time. And we see this in a meta-analysis. A meta-analysis is just the study of studies. It's often regarded as the strongest form of evidence in science. Well, as long as it's done right, but you don't give a shit, that's for another video. Anyway, this analysis looked at 16 studies and found that strength and power gains were specific to the tool that you used, i.e. free weights increase free weight strength over machines, machines increase machine strength over free weights, and this is known as the SAID principle, specific adaptations of imposed demands, which is just a fancy smancy way of saying that you get better at what you repetitively do, as my right hand found out during secondary school, or high school for you Yanks. But what about muscle growth? Well, outcomes were the same, even if free weights do recruit more stabilizers. So let's touch on stabilizers, because light travels faster than sound, which is why influencers appear bright before you hear them speak and say things like free weights are better because they train more stabilizers. This is where I want you to look them square in the pupils, assert dominance, and ask, name those stabilizers. Watch as their face becomes as blank as mine when I forget my phone visiting the porcelain throne. Hey, that rhymed. I get it. Before I was a coach, I just thought that stabilizers were these magical muscle groups that duct taped everything together. But stabilizers are just muscles that support the primary muscle doing its job. Any prime mover can be a stabilizer, and any stabilizer can be a prime mover. They're backups, like me hiding behind my wife when she makes a complaint. For example, the rotator cuff muscles are active during presses, rows, and entirely on a lateral raise because you can't isolate the rotator cuff from your deltoid. And these basic exercises are also building strength around your shoulders and arms. So I don't completely buy that machines are creating imbalances because they're leaving your stabilizers behind. Kind of feels like that Marilyn Manson rumor that went around that everyone just kind of believed. In fact, your bigger, stronger muscles like your chest and glutes are arguably better joint stabilizers because they can manage greater forces. Machines don't create weak stabilizers, training like a wet flannel does. I always used to have the big three in my life, and I'm not just talking tease, please, and squeeze, but squat, deadlift, and bench. And one of the reasons is because I thought that these exercises, namely squats and deadlifts, would boost my testosterone and build muscle all over my body. But the research shows that the average increase in testosterone after squats is only 30 nanograms per deciliter for 30 minutes. Considering standard testosterone levels for a dude is 300 to 900 nanograms per deciliter, that's an increase of like 3 to 10%. Hey, sounds pretty good. But before you get your nipples tingling, let's compare that to anabolic steroids, which in this study raised testosterone levels by 2,000% all day, every day. I ran out of water. That's the day they watched Rings of Power. Suddenly, that small spike from squats looks like the small dick in the locker room. Basically, it's meaningless. So don't force squats into your program in an attempt to build muscle in your biceps. Do them because they're an awesome exercise for your legs and childhood trauma. Side note, if you find barbell squats as frustrating as trying to itch your ass with your teeth, then it's not arranged. You don't have to marry yourself to it, or any exercise for that matter. Because while somebody with a long torso and short femurs may squat great and feel it in their quads, somebody with long femurs, long shins, and a stumpy torso may find that their lower back tells them to fuck off way before they get a decent leg stimulus. Thankfully, we can hack this by artificially shortening the femurs by spreading our legs, which won't be a problem with some of you. Or we can raise our heels by using a wedge, which will help artificially shorten the shin and allow you to get deeper down onto the squat while keeping an upright posture. The easy way to find out how much of a wedge you need is just to squat down like you've got daddy issues, and the gap between your heel and the floor is how much of a wedge. Failing that, the Smith machine is a great alternative as you can bring your feet forward to allow you to sit down deeper. Hopefully you can start seeing now that you're not trying to make you fit the exercise, but make the exercise fit you and your structure. But hold on, aren't free weights more functional? Functional training is one of those buzz terms that I really don't like because it's used to shit on machines and just basic good strength training. But functional strength doesn't come down to the tool that you use. Surely just having more muscle mass and strength is functional and helps you deal with day-to-day life. Whether you use free weights or machines, the said principle still applies. You get better at what you specifically do, and we've got the research to show that you can improve athletic performance with both free weights and machines. In this study, they tested vertical jump, sprint time, balance, and agility, and they found that there was no difference between modalities, except free weights had a slight advantage on balance and agility tasks. So personally, I suggest using the gym to build strength, power, and muscle with whatever equipment that you enjoy or you have access to. And if you want to get better at your sport, just do more of your sport. And this is where some fuckknucker will blurt out, oh, but athletes have always used free weights, which is a logical fallacy. A logical fallacy is just a stupid shortcut people use to make their argument sound convincing, but it's actually flawed. In this case, the logical fallacy is called an appeal to tradition. It's always been done this way, so it must be right. But one, we see top athletes use machines in their training all the fucking time. Two, it's a hell of a lot cheaper for a sports facility to buy 10 squat racks and 10 barbells than it is 10 hack squats. And three, I mean, athletes have lucky socks. I outgrew my special sock like last week, and just because an athlete does something doesn't mean it's the best idea. So both machines and free weights are just tools, and the best one depends on your goals, your anatomy, and your preferences. Practically, machines are more stable and they require less skill, so you can shit yourself to failure more effectively. But your structure may make them as effective for your gains as my dad's pull-out game 30 years ago. Conversely, free weights are more versatile with more freedom of motion. You can achieve dozens of exercises with dumbbells alone, so you can look like the Austrian oak even if you're stuck in an Austrian cellar. Also, I find you can easily explore vulnerable positions that you're not used to going into, which allows you to build some resiliency and better deal with the dynamics of life. Hopefully you're starting to realize that everything in the gym is a tool, and it's just a way of applying forces to our anatomy for an adaptation to occur. That's it. But for choosing the best muscle building exercises, I like to use my FLAPs. FLAPs is just an acronym that I came up with because it's funny to remember, and it stands for failure because we want to choose those exercises that allow us to approach failure to achieve maximum tension, as this is the stimulus needed for building muscle. Without it, you are just tickling yourself. Length, making sure we're choosing exercises that use a full range of motion, maybe with an emphasis on the stretch. Alignment, we want to make sure that we're actually targeting the muscle that we want to hit. Profile, so that we can look at exercises that are heavier or lighter where we are stronger or weaker. And stability, and that's really just going to emphasize everything for us to brace ourselves against to then produce more force. There's a reason that the leg press has a back pad against it. When it comes to building muscle, everything works. And once you understand that, then arguments like what's better, machines or free weights, become as redundant as what's the best dog breed, because we know it's sausage dogs. Our progress doesn't hinge on whether we use free weights or machines, it's about how we use them. We want to fuck around and find out what works for our body, experimenting with both of them. When it comes to strength, do more of the exercise you want to get stronger at. Don't waste time doing a gazillion accessory exercises to try to get better at the squat. Just squat more. And listen, when it comes to performance, use both free weights and machines to build muscle, strength, and explosive power year round, and then just do more of your sport. There's no magic bullet in fitness. Well, except subscribing to this channel, because I like to think of myself as your older brother who's fucked around and found out a lot and is here to tell you. But whether you're lifting a dumbbell, a machine, or even a baby goat, whatever you can get your hands on, as long as you're applying effort to it and you're progressively overloading over time, then you're going to make progress just fine. Now off you pop to go train, and I'll see you in the next video.